What is up, party people? Welcome back to the channel. I am Nicole with Sonar, and in today's video I bring you through what I am colloquially calling Crush Week, and this tends to be the week before I have a big event. And normally I have more time to prep, but not so much with this one, but I will go over all that in the video. I just want to do a quick little intro. This is straight up vlog style, so I will be talking through my days as I'm working, and then I will also be showing a little bit of my process as I work. And if you follow me, then you know that I don't normally do these types of videos, but it was interesting to record and timestamp my week, and I felt like I was in the studio for 80 hours, and it didn't turn out to be nearly that much, but I was definitely in here almost 40 hours in 4 days to work and to crush and make as many things as possible for that upcoming event that I got accepted to. So if you're enjoying the video, be sure to let me know in the comments below. At any point, feel free to like, subscribe, join the Patreon, do any and all of those things. I would be very much obliged. I apologize if you hear dogs chewing on chew toys. That will not be happening in the rest of the video, but you will hear my fan, because this was the week that it was 97 and higher here in the Carolinas, and I'm sad to report that it still is. We thought that we were in that heat wave. Well, the heat wave is called summer, baby. We are full-fledged summer over here. And yeah, so without further ado, enjoy what I like to call Crush Week, and I'll see you throughout the video. I got taken off of a wait list for a really big show in Asheville for this upcoming weekend, which is fantastic, but it's also like anxiety inducing. And this is usually when I do not so much my quickest work, but the most amount of work in a short amount of time. I work pretty well under a hard deadline, and so knowing that I have to have all of my stuff completed by Saturday morning, Friday night, really comfortably, usually lights a pretty big fire under my you know what. So I thought that I would I don't really know what this video is going to turn into, but I was just like sewing away, and I thought, oh, I wonder I can like maybe film a little bit of this. So this video is about what it's like to vend big shows for your income. So this show is called The Big Crafty. It's in Asheville, North Carolina. It's at Harrah's Cherokee Casino Center, Harrah's Cherokee Center, something like that. Downtown Asheville on Saturday and Sunday, and it's from 10 to 6 both days. And it's not like a fine art show where you have to be juried and you have to have a specific tent and it's hoity-toity. Not like that. I'm not quite to that echelon of vending. I'm more of a relaxed atmosphere, artsy, crunchy people with some money. That's my target market. So Asheville kind of fits the bill. I've loved this show. The promoters are fantastic. The venue is really great. It's indoors. It used to be outdoors every summer, and it was the only show that I would do in the summer because it gets very, very hot here in the Southeast. If you live here, then you are well aware, but I mean, right now it's 97 degrees and it is July 8th. So we are in the thick of it now, but I would normally be vending this show outdoors, and this is the only show all year that I would take it on the chin weather-wise because I just love it so much. They do a second event in the wintertime, and the show's gotten a lot bigger since I started doing it, so I've now been waitlisted a couple times, but generally about a week prior they pull me off the wait list, which is always fun, but it's always like maddening, because I just want to have as much available as possible. So yeah, so I mean, right now my desk, I'll show you my desk in just a minute, but so I got word Sunday evening at like 8 p.m. They sent me an email, asked if I wanted to join. I said yes, of course, and I made my list. I went through my current stock, so I still have a decent amount of stock, but I like to have a bunch of each thing whenever, especially when I'm vending these bigger events, like the farmer's market. I don't really mind having like 4 or 5 random wallets here and there, but when I'm doing these bigger events, I like to have 10 of each kind of wallet at least, you know, or that's a random number that I pulled, but I like to have a fair amount of each product so that it's not just like a patchwork of a plethora of products. I want it to look like a cohesive line. And so that requires a lot of work, because my last event that I did was the farmers market here in Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and it was fantastic. I sold 8 bags, which is the most bags I've sold in one show in quite some time. And it's a good thing, but it's also a problem when you have back-to-back vending events. So this is what I cut yesterday. So today's Tuesday. And so on Monday, I had a marathon day of cutting. I started cutting at like 9 a.m. and I didn't stop work until like 7:30 p.m. So I cut 3 Callisto bags, 2 Snap wallets, 9 business card holders, 3 Deimos wallets, 6 mini Triskel wallets, 5 trifolds, 9 slim bifolds, 3 tall wallets, 4 mini box totes, 4 Paradigm crossbodies, 6 bifolds, 3 bifold wallet with ID window, 7 eyeglass cases, and 1 wide taste steel. So I cut 65 pieces. And on the bags, I have not cut the linings yet. I just cut all the cork. So I started sewing them today. I've kind of had a slow start of a day. I did some gardening and things like that. And I don't know about you, but my days tend to get ahead, like they get away from me if I'm not really careful. So I just buckled down and started working a few hours ago, really. And there's just so much more work behind all of this. It's not just cutting the cork or designing the bag, like pulling fabrics and stuff like that. After I cut everything, I have to go and put it in the laser, and I have to engrave it with my logo. And that's every single piece needs that. So I'm running the laser a lot, and then on pieces that everything, I'll show you my desk in just a minute, but everything is everywhere. On everything that has an exposed zipper box, I go in with Mod Podge and Mod Podge those. So like on all my tall wallets, and these are gonna be my snap pouches, on all my eyeglass cases, all of those things need all of this like prep work up front before I can even start sewing. So yeah, I just thought that it might be kind of fun. Again, no clue what this video will turn into, but I figured might as well film something and have it and not need it versus want it and not have it. So I've already started. If you don't notice about me, when I'm doing big batch sewing like this, I tend to sew by the color of the thread that's in my machine, even though it only takes like literally 8 seconds to swap out. I just have this mental thing. So if I'm using all beige thread on all of these items, regardless of if it's a bag or a business card wallet, I will pull all of those items and make all of them, and then I will move on to the next color, so on and so forth. So right now I'm in my beige sewing, and that tends to be my biggest pile of stuff. And so yeah, so I've made some business card wallets. This morning I put together some mini box totes. So here are the 2 exteriors of those. This one, this like light grass green with the golden slate waves is so pretty. I've also never done this like bubblegum pink with unicorn roots before, and I really like that one. And then lastly, I just started doing this combo of peach and brick, and I love this combo now. So these are all new combos. That's the other thing when I'm vending a show that I've vended a lot, I have to be cognizant of not just showing up with the same stuff all the time and never trying anything new. And the reason that I continually make things like Paradigms and mini box totes, and especially Callistos, is they're mad popular on my table. They always sell. And it just seems to be a timeless design, all 3 of these designs that people really enjoy. And yeah, so that's why I do it. Okay, so of the mini box totes, I have now been incorporating adding Decaville Light to the cork as well as the lining. So I'm kind of stuck in this right now. Normally when I make mini box totes, I would make all the exteriors and I would have a bunch of them just lined up waiting for the interiors. But because now I need to interface these, I'm stalled because I don't want to turn my heat press on because of the aforementioned 97 degrees. So I'm in a little bit of a pickle, but I'm trying to wait until I get to the point where I need to cut and get all my interfacing going before I turn it on. I don't want to have it on all day long. It's going to be on I'm gonna shut it off. So yeah, anyways, I'll give you a glance at the table, and then yeah, I guess we'll kind of do a count and we'll see how many things I get done throughout the rest of the day. For reference, it is 4:04 p.m. and let's see like when I stop and how much time I end up wasting and lollygagging, because it always happens for whatever reason. Okay. See, so here's straps for my bags. We've got trifolds here, more straps for more bags. This is all the mini box tote. I can tell this is the inside linings. Here's what I just showed you guys. All of my laser etched pockets for all of my wallets. So I've got a pile of demos here. Let's see, business cards, tall wallets, slim bifolds, bifold ID, regular bifold, another mini box tote back here, and then a pile of random stuff. These are completed eyeglass cases, and then these are all my mini Triskells, and then all of my Paradigm crossbodies. I got all of the angles glued on, and I have Mod Podged all of the openings here, but I'm also planning on interfacing the backs of these as well. So these are kind of also in the holding pattern, but I have all the zippers picked out and all of that. My lunch plate. And then here are a couple wallets that I have already finished today and more stuff that I need to get done. So let's see what I can do. There's a puppy. Clemmy. Are we working? Nope. So I'm working and listening to a podcast. One of my favorites is Armchair Expert. If you've never listened, check it out. Armchair Anonymous is really funny. It's where like random people can call in and they tell stories based on a prompt. The stories in there can get pretty wild. But anyways, I wanted to share this Armchair Expert episode with you guys. It's about like creative alchemy, and so if you're unfamiliar, or if you're familiar, John Baptiste, he is a musician from New Orleans. He's absolutely dropped you. He's absolutely incredible. He's definitely a savant. I mean, he is just like magic to watch. So definitely check him out. But his wife Salika is an author, and she just wrote this book. I want to say it's called Creative Alchemy, The Alchemy of Creativity, something along those lines. I'll put everything down in the description box for you. But the interview is really fantastic, and the book sounds really heartwarming and moving, and also possibly eye-opening, just based on the magic that lies within creating and making something out of nothing, bringing something to life that wasn't previously there. And considering, you know, this video and like why you're probably on my channel, we're all artists and we're all people. We are all bringers of life, of different art forms. And it was just a really cool episode. There was a couple times where I got a little verklempt, and I don't know, I wanted to share it with you guys. So again, the link will be down below. Highly suggest listening to it. And I don't know about you guys, but I am going to get the book too. Okay, back to work. Okay, so it is now 9 p.m. on the dot. It has been several hours since the beginning of the video, and I have gotten decent headway. I would have liked to have gotten farther, but with all of the prep work, so like prepping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Prepping 15 different item types based on color. I'm constantly switching gears and switching lanes to like, okay, I need to nip corners for these wallets, and then I need to check to see if I need to put RFID in a certain amount of them, and I need to cut interfacing for all the bags, and then I still need to cut linings and then cut the interfacing. And then because of the heat, I didn't want to turn on the heat press until later, which I got away with only turning it on twice today. I just turned it off, but I got this entire pile of bags and linings all interfaced. The Callistos still need linings, but I did find another mini box tote, like a pre-cut mini box tote, so I got that one going. I got everything all interfaced and ready to go bag-wise, and I did make 1, 2, 3, 4 wallets within that time frame, and I prepped everything else. So if you look over here on top of my laser and over here on the table, that's all that stuff that was down here on the table earlier. And so everything is either glued together, all the corners are cut, everything is ready for sewing. With the exception of like these other bags, I have to choose zippers and stuff, but all the zippers and things that I showed you earlier, those are all good to go, like a Crunchwrap Supreme. So, like I said, it's 9 o'clock, it's now 9:02. I'm gonna keep chugging along and see what else I can accomplish. Usually once I get to this stage of things and I'm just sitting at the sewing machine, I can crank out a lot of stuff. So we'll see. The last marathon day that I had before I vended at the farmer's market, I think I made like, it was a different combination of like all the small stuff. So business cards, eyeglass holders, bifolds, trifolds, a lot of Davos, but I made 36 of those in one day. So I'm hopeful. I think I want more bags for this event than, or not more, what am I trying to say? I want to have a plethora of bags. I want to be able to have a nice array of lots of different options. So that's kind of what I'm focused on. And if I can get all of these done, then I will have 4, 5, 10. I'll have 14 more bags to add to what I already have over there on the wall, which I have a decent amount. So we'll see how the rest of it goes. So no rest for the weekend. Let's get back to it. Side note, did you know that if you are using a heat press that you can stack items and interface all in one? I was kind of pressing my limits today just to see what I could get away with. And so because I did all of my cork, I was stacking it sometimes 4 deep, like this, with the interfacing for 30 seconds on somewhere around 250, and it adheres everything. This is what I do to the paradigm when I add it to the back. I cut it around the zipper box. But yeah, so I was stacking like layers and layers of cotton pieces and doing it all at once. And then something else that I also recently learned, say I cut 2 pieces for a lining of cotton, and then I cut the stabilizer, interfacing, Decaville in my case, I would heat press with water just the cotton to press all the wrinkles out, and then I would go back and add the interfacing to it. And what I learned is that you don't even need to do that. So all of these were like exponentially wrinkly because they just came right off my shelf. And so I just laid them, stacked them, and kind of smoothed them out as much as possible, but nothing crazy. If there was like really bad wrinkles, I would kind of spritz it a little and then flatten it out, and then I'd put the next piece on top. But it presses it and it adds the interfacing. See how they're kind of all stuck together from like the random overhangs? It presses it and adds the interfacing all in one fell swoop. I'm here editing the video and I wanted to give some updated information because I looked up my receipt and things. So mine is actually 15 inches by 15 inches. It's Vevor, that's Vevor. And it doesn't say anything about being a clamshell. It just has a straight up and down handle on it. And I paid back in 2023 $185 for it. And I just looked it up online and I'm finding it for as low as $135. So hands down, biggest time saver in my studio. If you do any sort of bulk sewing, I would definitely recommend getting a heat press. I'm not partial to this brand. This was just the most affordable when I purchased. And there are a plethora of other options out there, and definitely that comes recommended from moi. is that this colorway I actually interfaced backwards. So I'm going to peel off the Decaville Light and try to reuse it, but it is leaving quite a bit of residue on the front of the fabric. So unfortunately, I think that these pieces are a loss. But out of all those bags that you just saw me sort, I'd say that only having 2 issues isn't that bad. And it seems like the natural one to mess up because they're so similar on the front and the back. So, you know, what are you gonna do? If you were in my Paradigm Crossbody Bag virtual class, we just made this recently and great fun. So if you're interested, keep an eye out for those classes. They've been going really well. They're really nice because they're small and get a lot of like one-on-one time if you have questions and things like that. But in the class, I talk about how I shorten my interfacing by about 1/2 inch. And I do that so that whenever I'm flipping the bag right side out, it alleviates the bulk in that bottom seam wherever you flip and like where you flip the raw edges in toward the inside of the pocket. Anyways, I'm hot, red, and sweaty because this thing is now on for the 3rd time and it's so hot, 97 degrees. That's why I don't mind my fan. So I'm going to show you how I put it in here without pressing it first. So I'm just going to you see there's like a really big crease right there. So I'm going to line it up at the top and then I just kind of go like this. Because that crease is so big, I will just lightly spritz it like so. And then I will put this one right on top and spread it out and let it do its magic. You guys see this scar? That is from when I was a child. I was climbing up a tree with my brother. Well, not with him, after him. And the last thing I remember was his hand coming down and he pushed me out of the tree and I fell and I landed on a sewer drain. Because this is when I lived in South Florida, you know, those big metal sewer drains everywhere. And yeah, I got to take home that big shiner. And random fun fact, oh, you're about to fall over. My mom has a scar right there, my sister, myself, and my aunt, and my stepmom. Okay, so hot off the press, literally, as you can see, it's nice and smooth and fully pressed, and nice and smooth and fully pressed. I just finished up for the night. It is 1:31 in the morning. This is not abnormal for me to stay up like this, especially the week before a big event. Like I was saying earlier in the video, this is like when I do my most focused work. I tend to just like find podcasts or TV shows or movies to watch and I just like crush in the studio. So I wanted to go over what I completed today. I made 2 paradigms, fully complete. So cute. I love, love, love this one. With this fun star and moon print. And then you can't go wrong with like a natural mixed with black cork. And then I made this eggplant and scorched. And I did a juicy juice print on the inside. Nice and simple, but fun. I made 3 box totes. These are complete. They just need to have their straps attached. I'm on coat 3 of the top edge coat. The lining for this one is this really cool, like, Libs Elliott, part of her patina line, I think it's called, but it's like graffiti line. The peach and brick with, oh, these really fun eyeballs. That one's cool. I don't remember where I got that print. And then the bubblegum pink with the unicorn roots. I wasn't sure how I felt about that when it was cut and just on my table, but I'm digging it now. I did like this darker maroon kind of color zipper with from Mormino, and then another Giuseppe print bubblegum pink. So 3 mini box totes, 2 paradigms, 4 eyeglass cases, 1 trifold, 1 slim bifold, 2 bifolds, and 3 business cards. So it's not bad for today, especially because I got everything else cut and prepped and ready to go, with the exception of the 3 Callisto interiors, which now might be too. Anyways, see you tomorrow. I just wanted to point out this one in the back here. Not everybody's working late tonight. Brandon's also asleep, and all the dogs, or both the dogs, are downstairs too. I'm gonna pop some popcorn and veg out and do the New York Times crossword. Hello, hello. Day 2 of Crush Week. Crush Week? That's what I should start calling it. It is 1:11 right now. I have had a decently busy morning, and I have been poking around in here as well, on and off. And I am ready to get my actual workday started. So a few hours earlier than yesterday. And today's husband shirt band is Blind Melon. Yesterday was Nirvana, so I did go back and listen to the 1994 Unplugged episode. It's not really an episode, concert, but it was Nirvana's 1994 Unplugged on MTV. If you have never watched that, highly suggest. It is really interesting to watch music and watch musicians play now that Brandon and I are dabbling in our respective instruments, and it's really fun to see young Dave Grohl and Kurt Cobain. I absolutely love Nirvana, grew up with them, and Blind Melon, another one, absolutely adore them. I think like 90s rock, 90s alternative definitely raised me, and so it's always fun to go shopping on my husband's side of the closet. I have recently started to wear his shirts, and I'm wearing them enough now that he's like, what's happening here? But his shirts are just so much more comfortable. Like, I buy an XL in women's just to have a nice baggy shirt, and within 2 washes it feels like a baby doll tee, and it's so frustrating. But an XL for him is exactly what I'm looking for. Anyways, on the docket for today, I excuse me, have painted all the tops of my mini box totes, so I will get them strung with their straps. And then I'm going to cut out the linings for my Callistos, the 2 natural Callistos. I'm going to cut out the linings for all of my mini Triskells, because I also want those on the table this weekend for sure. And then once I get through doing all of that, then we're gonna, so I want to make 2 Callistos. And then I'm going to move over to gray thread. And so I also have a Paradigm, mini Triskel, and a slim bifold. And then from there, we will start working our way, piecemealing through all the colors of my thread. And I just remembered I still have to package some orders, so we're gonna be doing that as well. So let's get moving. So it is now 5:17, and I feel like I haven't gotten anything done, and it's like the most frustrating feeling when you know that you're on a time crunch and you're trying to like move quickly through your projects. And since I first started, a friend stopped by, we ended up talking for quite some time, and I ate lunch and things like that, so did some laundry. So other things happened within the time frame, but I only got 2 bags done, and not even their straps. And one of them is, I've already taken it apart twice and tried to fix it, and it's still sitting incorrectly. And so I think it's just like time for a break. I got this one done, the unicorn roots, and I did this really beautiful lining. Super fun. It's a Giuseppe Juicy Juice lining, of course. I love Juicy Juice. But this one came out nice. I just need to put the strap on it. But this one, it looks fine when the bag is open. Everything lays nicely, but then as soon as you close it, it's like the front sits farther back than the back. So it's like sitting like this. And I don't understand why, because the zipper starts and stops at the same place. It's the weirdest thing. I can't quite figure it out. It feels like it needs to just like shift, but the bottom stays where it's at, but the top will shift. I don't know. It's really strange, but it's really starting to frustrate me, if I'm being honest. So I'm probably just going to have to put this one to the side and take it apart whenever I have more patience. So after my little break, I'm going to come back and work on the 2 Triskells, and then I might just have to bang out some like small regular wallets just to get morale back up. But let's go have a snack, shall we? So when my friend came by, he brought me a little present, and it's really exciting because so Brandon plays left-handed guitar, so I can never really play his guitar unless I'm playing upside down. And so my friend brought me this that he's had just sitting in his house for quite some time. So that's really exciting. It's a right-handed guitar, and I don't play guitar, not yet at least, but the boys, Andy and Brandon, they always sit outside and just kind of piddle around on the guitars, and I'm like, come inside so I can play the drums with you. And they don't ever, and so now I can play around with them. Brandon just got an electric guitar too. I bought him one, he got me my drums, so I got him an electric guitar in hopes that he'll like play with me with the drums, but hasn't arrived yet. It's supposed to come in today, but it's so fun. We have like a whole room down here that's got a bunch of records and record player and all that, and now we're like filling it with instruments. All right, so it is 10:51. I have redeemed myself a little bit. I made 3 Triskells, mini Triskells, and 1 paradigm and another slim bifold, right? Yeah, because I hadn't made those earlier. I switched over to the gray thread and made those. But yeah, anyways, long days. My legs hurt because I've been just standing all day, and I just made myself some ramen noodles. I haven't had ramen in years, and so I just made myself some. Excited to try those. I did take a little tiny drum break, and that's, of course, when the UPS driver got here, and luckily he could hear me playing the drums, so he waited until I was done, and he knocked on the door, which I'm so happy for, because I'm sure Brandon would have been so upset because he's been waiting on this guitar to arrive. So he's downstairs noodling around on that, and yeah, so just kind of hanging tough. Not sure how much more I'll get done tonight. Definitely a little tired. So yeah, I don't know. Might see you tonight, might see you tomorrow. I just watched some TikTok while I ate my breakfast and saw some videos of the flooding in Texas and New Mexico, and it's just like, whew, my heart is shattering for them. And just remembering waking up that morning of Helene, because we had a lot of our devastation in a very short period of time, and like the flash floods and the mudslides and things like that, and just like watching all these videos, it's so heartbreaking to know exactly how it feels, and just the sheer devastation and how terrifying it all is just overwhelming. My heart goes out to everybody in Texas and New Mexico, and I mean everywhere that is still dealing with the devastation. I have a friend here that lost her entire house, her cars, everything in Helene, and she's just now, 9 months later, starting the process to rebuild. And I don't know if it's happening more often or if maybe I just pay closer attention, but these flash floods are insane. It's so scary. My heart breaks for everybody. I don't know what to do about it. I don't know. You know, it's just so devastating. All right, now that I got my morning cry out of the way, you saw me attaching the straps to those mini box totes, so those are finally done. I finished, I called it a night last night after I made that last video, but I did finish 3 mini Triskells, and they're just always so impressive when they come together. I am having a slight issue. I got some new double cap rivet snaps, and as soon as I compressed the cap onto the female portion, it pushed the little middle section up. So when it snaps together, they snap, but there's, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a gap in between the two pieces. Whereas originally my other ones, you could see they're like really flush with each other. And these are not. Oh, there you go. Now you can see it. So there's a pretty big gap. So they still are magnetized, but they just don't fit as well as I would like. And I'm not sure why that is or what happened. I did a test on some Craft Techs with the same snaps. I added the caps, fit them. They were nice and flush. And then as soon as I pressed them into their respective cap, then there's a big gap. So that is kind of a bummer. Luckily, it doesn't reduce the magnetism, but it's still annoying nonetheless. So yesterday I ended with the Paradigm, 1 Paradigm, 3 mini Triskells, 2 Callistos without straps, the one being the one that I need to take apart and fix that I'm gonna deal with another day, I think. And then 1 slim bifold. I spent a large portion of my day working on that 1 Callisto, taking it apart and fixing it. I still am befuddled as to what happened to it. You just kind of see how it just looks off. It just, I'm not sure. I think it's just gonna require like a full back down to brass tacks and restart. And right now I just don't have the spoons to do that. So we'll be moving on from that. But this one needs a strap. I need to put the strap on this guy. But before I can do the straps, I have to add edge coat or Mod Podge to my raw edge, which is just like one of those tasks that I always put off until the last minute because it just is messy and it gets everywhere. It dries all over my hands and stuff. But I still have a fat stack of stuff to do over there. So I'm going to start working on that. I have a few more bags that I want to get done before tomorrow. Let's see. So today's Thursday. Tomorrow I have a good work day. I can work all day. However, I need to inventory and tag everything, and that takes a couple hours, and then pack my car and get everything ready to go because I have to be up and out of here super early Saturday morning to go up to Asheville. Luckily, it doesn't require a tent and it's indoors, so I just have to schlep all my boxes and bins in, which is nice. I'll take that, whatever. And then Braden's gonna come up with me on Sunday, so that'll be nice. Might spend the night and have like a little night in Asheville. We haven't been up there aside from work. I worked last December up there at the same event, but we haven't spent any time in Asheville since Helene, ding ding ding. So it'll be nice to go and possibly drive back through like Black Mountain, maybe go up to Chimney Rock because the state park just reopened last week, I believe. So take a ride through the mountain towns and see. We never wanted to be like looky-loos and get in the way of emergency vehicles and stuff like that. So we haven't gone up there. We've just sent supplies and money and kept in touch with our friends and family that live up there. But yeah, I think it might be due time to take a little ride through the mountains. But yeah, so maybe Sunday, Brandon, we might spend the night and have that. Yeah, so on the docket today, more work, of course, another long haul, and maybe a little bit of guitar in there because my friend brought that guitar, which it is in desperate need of new strings, but it's in tune somehow. And I'm happy to report that as soon as I picked it up, I was still able to play the opening chords, I don't know what you would call them, I don't know anything about the guitar, but of Rivers of Babylon. That's the one thing I can do. So, want to see it? So this is the guitar. I can't remember if I showed it yesterday. I'm gonna make myself a new strap. Brandon wants a guitar strap too, so it's on the list of to-do things. Playing standing up is weird too, but let's see if I can remember how to do this. Okay. My nails are too long to play the guitar. I have to cut them. And I also haven't figured out like my hand placement, how to hold my fingers without hurting my hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's what I got. So last night I checked my Apple Watch, and remember I said that my legs had been hurting, and that would be because I walked 5 miles between this side of my table and that side of my table yesterday in the studio. Crazy. It's not abnormal when I check my Apple Watch after being in the studio all day long. And I mean, of course, I'm like going up and down my stairs and letting the dogs in and out, and I walked to the mailbox a couple times, stuff like that. But within the confines of my home, I will walk several miles a day. It's kind of wild. Let's see, so where am I at right now? We'll do this check-in. Remind me if I forgot. So right now I have 1,300 steps for the day. It's noon on the dot right now. 1,315 steps and 0.57 miles already. So we'll check in at the end of the day and see how far I go. Today we are starting with The Color Purple. Great movie. Trying to find something to watch, but my Netflix is being weird. Oh, I watched The Mayor of Mayhem on Netflix yesterday, and that is wild. Wild. He was Toronto's mayor back in the mid-2000s, and he was a wild guy. And then the Tylenol murders, I've watched that. I go through so much content when I'm doing these long haul days that I just run out of stuff to watch and I get bored. So I don't know. I'm just gonna put on Con Mom right now and give that a go. A lot of things I would not normally watch, I put on and then I'm like invested. So a little peek into like the way that my mind functions. I finished the lavender stuff and I needed to engrave the business card wallet. So I opened up my Glowforge and I realized excuse me, I needed to do one of my miniature scales. Well, those are a little bit wider, so I have to take the grate out, yada yada. So I pull the metal grate out of the bottom. It's dirty. So I'm like, well, let me go get the vacuum cleaner. I'll clean this out. So I clean it out and I have the vacuum still in my possession. Once I get the Glowforge going, I'm like, well, let me go ahead and, because I already had like the pointy nib on the the pointy attachment on the vacuum cleaner, I was like, well, let me just do all like the baseboards in my studio because I don't really ever put this attachment on there. So the whole time I'm like, okay, I have this amount of time while the Glowforge is going to get all this done. Well, I had to pee too, so I took the vacuum into the bathroom, did all of those baseboards and like corners and stuff, went to put the vacuum back and was like, this litter box needs to be handled. So that got me into taking care of the litter box, which instead of just scooping it and turned it into like cleaning the whole thing. And of course you have to vacuum the floor after you do the litter box. So then I ended up vacuuming all of the rooms upstairs. And yeah, so like the 4 minutes it took to engrave the logos turned into maybe 15 minutes. But I went pee and I cleaned the floors and the litter box in that time. And then as I was outside taking the bag of litter out, it reminded me, recently we've had special guests at night. So these big spiders for the last couple of nights, they're brand new. We have a banana tree out front. We planted a whole planter out there. It's a whole thing. So anyways, we moved the banana tree to the backyard. And ever since then, now we have this big spider that like clockwork at night, it spins this massive web over the back almost door. It connects from the banana tree to the back door, like steps and stuff. And I almost always walk into it. It freaks me out. And the spider's just big enough to where I don't want to not look at it, because if it jumps on me, it's going to, I will die a very quick death. But yeah, so now we have the one back there, and now we have two out front too. So now we have 3 spiders. Where do they go during the day? I'm sure I could just Google it, but these are just like the types of things I think about. And all of that started because I took the litter to the trash can and I was like, where is that spider? Why don't they keep their homes? They like build homes every night. And I mean massive homes, not just a little tiny web. They're sprawling. I would say easily as big as my 4x4 calyx shelf here. And then every morning, pack up shop, move it out. I don't know. Weird. Anyways, moving on to a new color thread. I haven't decided which one yet, but I'm thinking peach. And this is going to be a tall wallet, a miniature scale, and a couple of other small things. So here we go. Oh yeah, wanted to give a time update. It's 1:43, so it's been just under 2 hours that I've done all the lavender. And Con Mum, wild on Netflix. Check it out. All right, check-in time is 3:55 p.m. and I just finished a miniature scale, a tall wallet, and a slim bifold. And that is it for my peach. I'm gonna go eat some lunch. Clearly I eat late. Sometimes we don't eat dinner until like 10. Brandon doesn't get home to work till late. Anyways, minutia. It is about to storm here, so I had to turn on my big light. I was gonna try to take the dogs on a WALK, but now I fear that I've gotten too close to the storm, so hopefully it'll pass and we can go after. Anywho, time for nibbles. Hello. Time check. It is 8:07 p.m. I was able to get the dogs out on a walk. We waited for the storm to pass. But since the last video, I've done some decent work. I got all this stuff done over here, narrowing it down. I got all 3 of my greens done. I got lavender. So I still need to do eggplant, aqua, black, and brown. But I'm making headway. The pile is dwindling, which is really nice. The good thing about all the small stuff is it like I can make it so quick. I mean, obviously looking at this pile, I can do wallets and things like that very quickly, which is nice. It makes me feel accomplished, whereas the bags, of course, take longer. But I have a couple extra credit bags over there. I'm not sure if I'll get to those, but we'll see. I mean, I've got tomorrow, I was feeling really confident earlier. I was like feeling myself. I was like, oh, I think I might get all this done. But now here we are. I have to go cook dinner and take a shower still. I still like, when I do these marathon days, I will let other things fall by the wayside. But I did walk the dogs. So there is that. Took them on a quick little mile. And it was only 72, but it was 100% humidity because of the rain. But yeah, so I don't know. Not sure. I will probably end up back in here tonight just because I'm, you know, getting down to the nitty gritty. And I want to I'll probably make at least another Callisto tonight. But we'll see. We'll see. Might see you later, might see you tomorrow. But I'll see ya. Good morning. It is Friday morning. It's 10:40. I ended up staying up quite late last night. I stayed in the studio until probably 12:30ish, and then I went downstairs and did my crossword on my phone, but then I let myself open TikTok, and I ended up staying up until pretty late. And so what you use on the back end, you pay for on the front end. So I ended up sleeping or turning my alarm off at 8:30 this morning and didn't get out of bed until 9:45. But, you know, what are you gonna do? I got quite a bit done yesterday. This is all the stuff that I did yesterday. I actually made a list. Let's see, I made 22 pieces yesterday, including a bag, but several wallets and things like that. I also got this bag all fully taken apart. Sometimes you just got to restart, you know what I mean? And it's sad, but what I'm going to do is just iron this really well. Since I already have my hardware and things in it, I can't put it in the heat press, which is a bummer, but I'm going to iron it really well, steam everything, try to get any holes out. This fabric is feeling pretty beat up, but I'm going to see how it looks once I steam it, and hopefully it's just fine, which usually that does the ticket. This is an old art gallery print. I used to be obsessed with this print by April Rhodes, and so I would use it in everything. But I've had it since I lived in Colorado, which is, you know, 8+ years ago, which makes sense. It's giving Southwest. But yeah, so it's one of my older prints, but art gallery in general, their fabrics tend to be very thin, and just the quality is really nice. They're nice and silky. They would always make like really fantastic clothes. But all that to say that they get crinkly and beat up looking pretty easily. So I'm not too surprised by this because of the constant back and forth of like flipping it right side out, sewing it twice, and then now just totally taking it back apart. This wide Callisto is definitely going to go from like this size to that size just because of all of the changes. But I do think it's worth it. Certainly I could have sold the bag as is, and probably most people wouldn't have noticed, but to the trained eye, it just looked funky. It's one of those things where you're looking at it and you're like, I can't put my finger on it, but there's something weird about that person. And that person was lopsided. So got this all taken apart, and so I'm gonna plan on doing that. I did my inventory this morning just to kind of get a pulse on where I'm at. I have 176 pieces so far. I tend to aim for 200, which I can easily bring it up to 200 if I were to focus all on wallets today. That wouldn't be a problem at all. But I think what I'm going to try to do is I have an aqua stack, and then I have this stack, or this bag here, and then I have a green, this green, and cut as a Callisto. And then the rest is all wallets. So I think if I can like hammer it out in the studio today, I will be able to get all of this done, no problem. The thing that I'm also contending with is I need to now go back and add Mod Podge to all of the edges of everything that I've made, and edge coat. So that's 3+ layers of base coat plus color on all the miniature scales and things like that. I need to seal all the edges of my straps before I can fully attach them. This pretty little Betty that I made yesterday, I love how this one came out. This eggplant and lavender lilac is such a pretty combo with this print. Oh, it's so pretty, so nice. But yeah, so before I attach any of my straps, I need to go and Mod Podge all of the long edges, which, as I was saying, I think yesterday, it's one of those jobs I hate doing because it just gets everywhere. I put it off until the last minute. But these mini Triskells, they need their edges painted, so that clearly takes a long time. So once I get everything coated, then I have to tag and bag it all. So today's a big day. I also need to pull all of my vending stuff out of storage and pack my car. And then I also want to pack or make food or snacks or anything like that for tomorrow. The night before a vending event, I always get a bit anxious, but because I stayed up so late last night, I need to really focus on like not chugging iced coffee well into the evening, because I will stay up and then I will be so groggy tomorrow. But I always have to remind myself, I've done it before, I can do it again, and whatever I don't have is fine, because nobody knows I don't have that. So I have to like go through mental checklists in my head and make sure that I'm not spazzing out. Is spazzing out politically correct these days? I don't know, but I spaz out. But I have to like go through my mental checklist, make sure that I have like my charger. Oh, see, that's the thing. So I need to like plug my charger in so that I have this tomorrow. But go through all of my stuff to make sure that I have everything so that I can sleep tonight, because I won't. If there's one thing nagging at me, I will just lay awake all night long. So I don't know. I've been doing this event for years, since I moved back to the Southeast. So it's going to be great. It's going to be super fun. The event coordinators are awesome. Even if things get a little funky, then they're very understanding and they're really nice. And they let adults be adults. They don't micromanage us, which I think is quite nice. But yeah, anyways, lots of chit-chatting. Let's get to work. So excited I was able to fix the natural Callisto. It doesn't have that weird, funky dysfunction anymore. And ironing it and doing all of that, like perfectly salvaged. Had I not aired this, then you would have never known. It looks great. I'm very happy about that, because I was pretty bummed about that on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day that was. All right, it is 3:05. I feel like I'm not getting a lot done, but I'm like in the process of edge coating all the mini Triskells. And so I've got 5 mini Triskells in rotation, 1 tall wallet, and I made another Callisto, but it's like been since 11:45. So it's been 3 hours and I've done that. It doesn't feel like all that much, but I've been pretty focused. I've already gone through 2 podcasts. I am going to make another iced coffee, but I put a lot of ice in it in hopes that when the ice melts, it'll water down the coffee, because normally I use frozen coffee cubes and then it's just straight gasolina. But yeah, so I'm hoping, I've got lunch going. I'm hoping that when it waters down, it like won't be crazy. I've been really into iced coffee recently just because it's been so hot here. So yeah, I'm just making that. Last night I made like, ooh, that was kind of a lot. Last night I made a pasta bake. I love rigatoni noodles. They're just like nice and thick. I don't really know what it is, but I made like a rigatoni bake. So I'm having some leftovers. I'm gonna have my little iced coffee. And I'm just gonna keep chugging along. I do need to switch gears soon and get my car packed and get everything. I still need to seal all the edges on the wallets, which that doesn't take too long, but then tag everything. So let's get back to it. Okay, so I know that this is super random, but it's something that I started doing recently and I thought I would share just in case you guys want to know. But as aging women, I'm assuming most of us are, you know, there's a lot of chatter about how we need to have more protein in our diets, yada, yada. So I love like French onion dip with chips. I love chips in general, but anything I could dip them into. But I had this light bulb moment, and you can make your own. You can get like the Lipton packets, and then you just put it in Greek yogurt. And it's like an eating yogurt hack. I feel like it's the best hack I've ever come up with. Obviously yogurt has a decent amount of calories, but I feel like it's a great snack to like portion out and then eat with carrots and celery. And so I'm just mixing up a packet with 16 ounces, roughly. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, but one of these containers is 32 ounces. And I had about just under a half left in this one. So yeah, you just mix it up, and this is the best snack. And I don't feel bad, which I know you're not supposed to feel bad when you eat because everybody's got to eat, yada, yada, yada. But over mixing it with like sour cream or mayo or whatever and not getting any of the protein benefit, this is the way to go. And this is going to be a fantastic snack to take with me vending tomorrow. I always take like a little cooler and I'll bring my iced coffee, of course, water, and then usually like a soda as a treat. And then sometimes if I'm feeling sassy, which I usually am, I'll bring a couple of twisted teas or like White Claws or something for at the end of the day to have one like during the last hour. Sometimes it gets boring when you're vending by yourself. But yeah, so I just thought that I would share. This is my like new favorite snack. You're welcome. Oh, also, shirt today, Whitney Houston. This was Brandon's, but it shrunk on him, so now it's mine. Back from my lunch break, and I am going to put all the straps on my bags and get my wristlet straps all hardwared up and ready to go. Do some pressing on some of the bags, steam out some of the imperfections from flipping the bags right side out. But I also wanted to show you, I have achieved an accomplishment. This is one of those big Mac Daddy thread rolls. The first time I've ever used a whole one. That is so exciting. I probably bought this. This was my khaki color, like my beige color that I use the most of, back in Shelby. So at least a year and a half ago, but I'd have to pull receipts to see when I first bought this, but definitely at least a year and a half on this big boy. But it's, I was gonna say I deserve a trophy, but I feel like this is the trophy. It kind of looks like a weird plunger. Huh. Go me. All right, so I just looked it up so that I could tell you, and I ordered that spool back in October of 2022. That's how long that spool has lasted me, which is crazy given how much I use it. The beige color is my most used color in all of the land. So yeah, it feels like a big investment because it's expensive. Let's see what it was. But it really, it is worth it. So, oh, $10. It's not even that expensive. Yeah, that's crazy. 2.5 years. Wow. I feel like I've been locked in my studio for a week, which I guess, like, technically speaking, I have. But I just got done doing all of the edges on everything. I still need to do a color coat on all the other stuff that I started this morning. And then I just need to, like, tag and bag everything, pack it up, and I'm done for the week. And there's something... I'm very ready. There's something about seeing that finish line that is like motivating me to not keep sewing, because earlier I was struggling like, oh, just make one more bag, just do a couple more wallets. And I did talk myself into several more smaller things, but every small thing that I make, I have to seal the edges and create a label for, so it just kind of in turn makes more work. So at some point I just have to cut myself off. I think I might be up to like 187 or 188 pieces now. So it is what it is. Know what I mean? So I'm going to get out of the studio for a little bit. I'm going to take the dogs on a WALK. They are sleeping downstairs. There's a break in the storms right now, so I need to pack my car, pull everything out of the shed, pack my car, and then take the pups, have some dinner, and then get back in here and finalize everything. Because I still have yet to pack everything down, move it into my car, and then make snacks and all that, which that stuff shouldn't be too hard. Brandon's really helpful when it comes to that type of stuff too. If he weren't around when I'm in these like crush weeks, I probably wouldn't eat very well. Like, he makes me breakfast when he's here, and then he'll make dinner. At least at the old house he did, because he didn't work as late as he does now. But whenever he's here and I'm working like this, he takes care of like meals and stuff like that. But he's not home, so I have to feed myself. So I need to go and yeah, I'm going to go outside, move my body a little bit, and get back to it. Okay, this is it. I'm all done. It is Friday night at 11:55 p.m. and it is officially the end of the work week, at least until I go to the event tomorrow. I did realize today when I was looking up my booth space number that it actually is from noon to 6 Saturday and Sunday, which is exciting. That means that I don't have to get up nearly as early tomorrow, because it is about an hour and 15-minute drive each way as well. And it did turn out that we were able to get a dog sitter, so Brandon's going to come up with me on Sunday and vend, and then we're going to have a little staycation in Asheville and see some friends and kind of poke around. There's a fantastic dim sum place on Patton Avenue. If you're ever up there, it is so good. It's called like Red Ginger. I think that's what it is. If you're ever in Asheville, go try that place. It's so good. So if you remember my cut list from Tuesday's video, the total stuff that I cut was 64 items and I made 55. So I don't think that that's half bad for a work week, especially considering that a lot of these were like bigger projects and not necessarily all teeny tiny like business card wallets. So just 9 shy. I think that's not too bad for a work week, especially like from cut to complete 55. I gotta say, pat on the back for old Nicole. Pretty proud of myself on that one. So I have almost everything all packed up in the bins. Brandon got to come home from work early, so he helped me pack my car and he cooked dinner, which was awesome, especially after earlier when I was talking about that he's not home and I have to feed myself, but he fed me tonight, which was awesome. So I have the mini Triskells and the tall wallet. They're still up on the table. I'm just giving them maximum amount of drying time as possible. I don't want to take the chance of folding everything and putting it into the bins and it getting smudged just because it's not thoroughly dry. So those are still up there, but everything else is packed. I kept one of my bins out to show you, but I pack in these super large Tupperwares. And so you can see I've got everything layered. And everything just kind of like Russian dolls itself. Everything nests inside of each other, which I love because my total count for the whole weekend of stuff, so previous stock included in the 55 that I made, I have 189 pieces, not including like bookmarks and cord keepers. I have, I think, 42 or 43 of those. That's not included in this total count. So this is definitely one of the bigger setups that I'll have because it's all bags and wallets. It's all like bigger items. So I'm only bringing 2 tables tomorrow. So hopefully everything fits. I might have to do some like different layouts on stuff just because I do have so many bags, but that means it'll just be a nice full table. So the only other time that I've had, well, not the only other time, I aspire to have over 200 pieces on my table whenever I vend these days. When I first started vending, I would have like 60. I remember the first time I hit 100, I was like, oh my God, 100 pieces. But now I aspire to have 200. The only other time that I've had this large of an amount is at these other big events. At one of the other ones, I had 308, but that included 50 bookmarks and cord keepers. So, you know, what were the numbers I just said? I'm so tired. It's been so long. Anyways, I feel like I've got a lot of stuff. So I was going to show you, this is how I keep track of all of my sales. I've shown this a couple of different times, but I created a spreadsheet. And so it has like the item name, the price, how many I brought, and then these are like reconciliation columns. So I mark like how many I've sold and all that. And so I used to just like make a tick every single time I sold one of the items. But recently I have started to just peel the stickers that go on my hang tags, I peel them and just stick them to the back of the vending sheet, which has made a huge difference, especially if the event that I'm vending is large and busy. A lot of times it's hard to remember. If you're doing back-to-back sales, it's hard to remember, like, oh, was that a business card wallet? Was it a slim wallet? Was it this? Was it that? And so I would have to do my countdowns at the end of the event, and then I would compare it to my receipts just to make sure that like nothing was lifted off the table. You know, 5-figure discount, it happens. But now I just peel the sticker and I can just stick them on my displays, like kind of behind the table. I'll just like stick them on the back of a display, and then whenever the event gets slower, I can put all the stickers into my book. And then at the end of the event, I can just go down each sticker and tick on the front on the spreadsheet and reconcile that way. And it has been a game changer in the vending experience, because I don't have to get so like pent up about making sure that I'm getting all my tick marks. And also if I have somebody vending with me, so like in this case, it'll be Brandon on Sunday, but a lot of times my mom comes and I have friends that also like to come help out. And it's confusing. You know, they don't know my products the way that I know my products. So they might, like I have a slim bifold and then a bifold wallet, and then, you know, the Deimos is technically a bifold, but like I have a lot of similar names. And so this way they can just peel the sticker, put it in the book. They don't have to worry about getting it wrong. And it helps me on the back end with reconciliation. So I have my vending in here from back in 2019. This is how far back it goes. And I used to vend 2 to 3 weekends a month, every month, the whole year. I lived in my studio. I would do these crush weeks every week. And I don't know how I did that, quite honestly, because I would stay up until 2 a.m. the night before an event and then get up and drive the hour and a half to the event. I don't know how I would do that, because just this week, I don't know. I started phasing vending events out a couple of years ago, probably about 2022, because I almost got heat stroke while vending in Charlotte. And I knew that if I left early, then I would forfeit the rest of my spots at that particular event for the rest of the summer. And I didn't want to do that. So it was a real like moment for me. I had to decide, is it worth my health popping up at these events all summer? And I decided that it's not. And so I've slowly weaned myself off of requiring vending for income, but I do love doing certain events each year. So where I used to do 2 to 3 a month, now I do 2 to 4 a year. And well, maybe not 2 to 4 a year in total, because I do like little smaller events randomly, like the farmer's market. But by and large, I don't really pop up in the summertime. It's too hot. That being said, now that I like kind of I'm just now getting into the Greenville scene, I do make concessions and I do the Traveler's Rest farmer's market, but poof, it's hot. This girl getting old. I can't handle the crush weeks. I can't handle being out in the heat like that, especially because I vend alone 99% of the time. So when I have to schlep the tent out, it's a whole other ballgame too. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to drop me a comment. Let me know what you thought. If you like this vlog style, I know that in the beginning of the week, I said, I don't know how this video is going to end up. And here I am, still have no idea how this video is going to end up. I hope that you liked it. And yeah, if you have any questions about anything, let me know. I am a pretty open book when it comes to stuff like this. I don't mind sharing my resources. A lot of this stuff is already available on my Patreon to those subscribers. So if you are a subscriber, be sure to poke around under the Patreon exclusive category. That's where I do a lot of like my spreadsheets and things like that as instant downloads that you guys can tweak to your liking. And with that said, I'm gonna go to bed. All right. Thanks for hanging. See you later.